All right. Well, good afternoon. We'll go ahead and call the Washoe County School District Audit Committee meeting to order. And we'll start with the, what are we doing? Roll call. Jeannie.
Ben Bartow, he's not here. He might jump on. That's why we have this meeting on, but I didn't hear back, so. Wesley Chudler,
Here.
Todd Shipley,
Here.
Ron Ellis,
Here.
Jennifer Thomas, Vida Ozude,
Here.
Deborah Yates. Here. And just so some of you haven't been here before, when you're talking, there's a little button on the microphone. Jennifer, you'll see it. It's the, you want to show her which one right there? So when you say here, I can hear you, but if somebody's on remote, they can't hear you.
Okay, it looks like the next item on the agenda is item 2, items for presentation, discussion, information, and/or action. Public comment. Any individuals may address the audit committee concerning any action item listed below before speaking during the public comment section, which must at least include the name of the speaker. Prior to any action, the committee chair will invite the individual to come forward to speak. Pursuant to Board Policy 9115, meetings of the Board of Trustees, all persons are limited to 3 minutes per item. The time limit may be altered at the discretion of the chair of the committee. Pursuant to NRS 241.035, correspondence or written materials submitted for public comment shall be attached to the minutes of the meeting. The committee may impose a reasonable content-neutral restriction on public comments, such as willfully disruptive comments that are irrelevant, repetitious, slanderous, offensive, inflammatory, irrational, amounting to personal attacks, or interfering with the rights of other speakers. All members of the general public will be expected to wear appropriate face coverings per the governor's directives. If members of the public refuse or fail to do so, in order to protect the health, safety, and welfare of all members of the general public, staff, and the committee, as well as commensurate with the governor's directives, they will be asked to leave the meeting. The committee will also accept public comments before and during the meeting through the audit committee, during the meeting through auditcommittee@washowschools.net. The committee will take time to read those comments during the meeting and announce the names of those who provided public comment via email. Okay? So I think we have 2.01. It's the introduction of the new audit committee members. So I know the gentleman over here to my right, Wesley Chudler.
Kirk Starkey for the record. At this time, each of you can take as little or as long as you want and just introduce yourself, and that'll work.
Yes, hi. So my name is Wesley Chudler, so I'm excited to be part of the audit committee. I'm a product of the school district, so, and in addition, my kids go to the school district, and my wife's a teacher at the school district. So being involved in this and giving back is something that's really exciting to me. So thank you.
Okay. Next we have Vitalis Ozude, and forgive me if I didn't pronounce that correctly.
Yeah, no, that's correct. But I go by Vida.
Vida, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. My kids go to, or have all gone to Washoe County School District and schools, and 2 of them, or 3 of them have graduated, and I have a younger one who is still going to school. So I worked for a very long time for the state of Nevada, and I believe that we contributed to Nevada citizens through our reports. And now I like the idea of being on this side and seeing the audits that are presented. So I'm glad to be here.
Okay, and last but not least, Deborah Yates.
Hi, a little bit about myself. Lake Tahoe Unified School District retired Chief Financial Officer. I also chaired the Bond Oversight Committee. In addition, I have 35 years education finance in leadership roles throughout various county offices of education, where my focus was on fiscal solvency for school districts, and I'm pleased to be here. Thank you.
Okay. Do you want to handle 202? Okay.
All right. At this time, we're up to item 2.02. This is discussion and possible action to select the Audit Committee Chairperson for a one-year term ending June 30, 2022. From the current members of the Audit Committee, Mr. Ben Bartow, Mr. Wesley Churchuan, Ronald Ellis, Vitalis Ozude, Todd Shipley, Jennifer Thomas, and Deborah Yates. If I can, it kind of would go if you would like to participate as, or to be considered for this, you could just announce that you would like to run, or someone on the committee could make a suggestion to offer.
I will put my name in the hat for the chairman position, chairperson position. Ronald Ellis.
So I, Wesley Chuchuler, move that the Audit Committee select Ron Ellis as the Audit Committee Chairperson for a one-year term ending June 30th, 2022.
Okay.
I, Todd Shipley, will second that motion.
Okay, before we take any action, do we need public comment? Are there any public comments on that?
There's no public
There's no
comment.
public comment.
Okay. Okay, second, so I think we take a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay. Now I can officially run the meeting.
Sure.
Okay. Next item. Item 2.03. 2.02, I'm sorry. Okay. Item 2.02. No, it's 203. I'm sorry, sir. It's 203. It's the vice chairman.
Keeping you on your toes right out of the gate.
Discussion and possible action to select the Audit Committee Vice Chairman for a one-year term ending June 30, 2022. From current members of the Audit Committee, Ben Bartow, Wesley Chujulern. I've just been appointed chairperson, so I'll not read my name. Vida Ozude, Todd Shipley, Jennifer Thomas, and Deborah Yates.
Chairman, I'll put my name in for vice chairman.
Okay. Any public comment?
There's no public comment.
Okay. And if I can get a motion?
I, Wesley Chuchuler, move that the Audit Committee select, let me see, Todd Shipley, apologies, as the Audit Committee Vice Chairman for a one-year term ending June 30th, 2022.
And I, Jennifer Thomas, second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. Okay, item 2.04, approval of the minutes of the Audit Committee meeting held May 20th, 2021. And those were part of the packet. Okay. So has everybody had an opportunity to read the minutes? And are there
Yes.
any corrections? Okay. Public, yes, Todd.
I, Todd Shipley, move that the audit committee approve the minutes of the audit committee meeting held May 20th, 2021.
Okay. Any public comment?
There's no public comment.
Okay. Second?
I, Jennifer Thomas, second the motion.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes of the May 20, 2021 Audit Committee, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Minutes are approved.
Correction. I
Yes.
don't think that those of us that weren't here at that meeting can vote for it.
Okay.
No, you actually, we had this come up at a board policy meeting, and you can.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Item 2.05. Presentation of report, fraud, waste, and abuse, hotline concerns and outcomes since the May 20, 2021 meeting of the Audit Committee. And I will turn it over to Chief Auditor Starkey.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. Kirk Starkey for the record. Attached as part of your agenda packet is a worksheet. It shows the status of the reported cases of waste, fraud, and abuse since our last audit committee meeting. For some context for our new committee members, our office administers the whistleblower hotline program for the district. With the program, employees or just general citizens of the public may contact our office and report instances or perceived instances of waste, fraud, or abuse. And then our office will determine a path of investigation with those items. We use the worksheet that's in your packet as a kind of as a tool or as a method to track the various cases as a record. And it also shows the disposition of the cases. And on the worksheet, it's basically two sections. As you can see, the top portion of the worksheet is a status update of the cases that were previously reported to the committee that were still considered open and active, while the bottom portion shows all the new cases we have received since the last committee meeting. On the top portion, the 3 cases previously reported, one has been closed. It was found to not have merit. That's the first one on the list. The other 2 below it are still open, and we're still actively investigating those cases. On the bottom half, we have 5 new cases that have been reported since our last meeting. Of those 5 cases, 4 have been closed and 1 is still being worked. Of the 4 cases closed, 1 was a employer matter. That one was referred to labor relations for their work. Another of the cases we looked at did not have merit, and 2 others were determined to be outside the scope of the program. We will continue to work the 3 open cases we have, and we'll continue to report back to the committee on the status of those cases and the disposition. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Keith. Mr. Starkey. All right. So that brings us to item 2.06. Status update on the activities of the Internal Audit Department to include current projects on the Internal Audit Department plan for fiscal year 2022.
All right. Thank you. Kirk Starkey for the record. Again, as part of your agenda packet is basically a spreadsheet status update of all the projects we still have on our audit plan for this year. The audit plan is, what we have on here was approved at a prior committee meeting. And I'll start at the top and go down, and since this is a discussion item, feel free to interrupt or ask any questions at any time. It's not a problem. Basically, the projects we have upcoming, around October, we start our monitoring work on the charter schools. Those are mandatory. We have to take care of those. They take, basically it's all the staff kind of puts all their efforts towards those 7 schools. Starts in October, and we have to issue the various reports by January. Throughout this fiscal year, we'll have a couple audit follow-ups we'll need to complete. They're on there. The capital projects report, which was completed by the outside firm Protiviti. We plan to get that follow-up report issued to the committee around February, and then we'll do the annual follow-up of the IT audit and the recent sick leave bank audit that was presented at the last committee meeting. Those will be about May 2022. You should have those back to you. Right now, we also do student activity fund audits. You recently got one on the Westergaard Elementary School that was issued, and we are in the process of working on the Innovations High School. It's a special project. That one's in process, should be getting close to completion. And then on the agenda, we still have Incline High School, Lemon Valley Elementary, and Echo Loader. We recently had a request for us to look at another elementary school, which we'll be adding to the audit plan as well. It's not listed on here. It's called Jesse Hall, but it was previously on the original audit plan that was approved back a few months ago. In process, as far as performance audits go, we are currently working with the Transportation Department, auditing the drug testing process, making sure that process is performed without bias and in accordance with our policies and procedures. We're also knee-deep in the auditing the scholarship funds, making sure the controls surrounding when donations are made to the schools, that they're being recorded and reported and distributed properly to the students in accordance with the guidelines from the donors.
Kurt, is that district-wide okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then we have another one, Psychological Services Department. We're focusing on the mental health evaluation process. This audit was, basically came to us from a previous whistleblower case. So that whistleblower program was continued to show its value, I believe, bringing this matter to our attention. And we've basically just started that audit, so that will be moving along. And then the audits they're on the audit plan, they don't have any hours attached to them at this time. It's grants, special ed, and facilities management. Those are all dependent upon basically the mandatory charter school audits getting done, the student activity funds, and the performance audits. And we also, as for administrative projects, we have the whistleblower hotline, which is a continuous activity. We have some office or department policies and procedures we've got written down, and we need to perform a review of if we're internally to make sure we're in compliance with our policies. And we had a long outstanding need to get the hotline program. We had no policy. We just got that adopted by the board recently at a meeting July 27, 2021. So that was big for our office to get that up and running and completed, and that one's done.
So I got a quick question.
Yeah.
So all these audits look great. I'm just curious though, do you guys do like an annual risk assessment, or is these mainly requests? Because you mentioned a couple of requests, or how is it?
Yeah,
How
no,
does this come about?
that's a great question. We do an annual risk assessment, and that's what populates the initial for the audit plan.
Okay.
As we go, though, there are requests that come in,
Yep.
and we try to put those on the plan depending upon what is being asked and why it's being asked. Like, for instance, the Innovation High School special project was a management request, so we put that one on, and the elementary school was requested. No, it's a great question.
Makes sense, thanks.
I have a question, and forgive me for asking
No,
this,
fire
but
away.
when you bring up the quality QA review of policies and procedures, every 3 years, I believe it is, or is that you have to have a quality assurance review?
That's correct.
When is that going to be due again for the,
A great question. We were trying to plan that several months ago, and but before we could get that done, we didn't really have our policies memorialized properly. So I believe we've got those laid down now, but we'll perform our internal QA on that to make sure we're good to go. And then we're seeking to use, we previously asked the committee if we could go through ALGA, which is the Association of Local Government Auditors, to come in and take a look and see how we're doing. But yeah,
Okay.
Great question.
Kurt, sorry, another question. I know this is all your employees' work in their audits, but do we have a view of some of the external audits, like the W1 and some of those other things that are out there, when they're due and when we're going to see those over the next year or so?
The one that comes to our committee is the CAFR. So at the next committee meeting, that's a big meeting for us. We'll get the district-wide comprehensive annual financial report will come here. That's basically the only outside audit we see in those regards.
All right, a follow-up to Mr. Shipley's question. So all these audits here, there's a lot, right? And before we talked, you have 3 staff.
3 staff, correct.
Are these doable?
The ones under new audits, I would say likely no.
Okay.
But I like to keep them there so they don't just drop off into the ether.
Yep.
And I want to keep them there because we need to get them to do those.
Right.
But the ones that we need to, that are above that, we should be able to handle.
Right. And I would think they're like 200-hour audits or something like that. Right?
Yeah, of the performance audits are quite a few hours.
Right.
The ones that, in all honesty, the charter schools chew up a lot of our time for several months. There's 7 of them, and there's quite a bit of work that are entailed in those monitoring activities. We recently kind of upped what we do. We recently had a closure like a year and a half ago for one of the schools had to close, so we want to make sure those things don't catch us off guard and that we're looking at them. And that's why you'll see on there's one school that we kind of put on a quarterly monitoring. We keep in contact with them on financial basis.
Yep.
But
All right, thank
Good
you.
question.
When this says new audits, these were not on the original plan, but things that have come up along the year?
They were on the original plan.
Okay.
It's just, I probably should title it differently. They're just not in process. They're just, maybe scheduled
Not
audits
yet
is probably a
scheduled,
better.
not yet scheduled.
Yeah, is probably a better.
And they would just carry over into the new year if you
Yes,
don't
sir.
get to them?
Yeah,
All right, fantastic. Anything else, Kurt?
that should cover that
All
one.
right.
Thank you.
Gene, do we need to ask for public comment on either 205 or 206?
No, there's no public comment
Okay.
on any of these things.
Okay. And you'll let me know if there is on an item? Okay, fantastic. Okay. Item 2.07, presentation of audit committee calendar, annual calendar, and this is an informational, so. Up to you, sir.
Kirk Starkey for the record. This item, basically, we have this in all of our audit committees. They're at the conclusion. It's just a kind of a high-level preview of what's upcoming and the proposed audit committee dates that are on there. The November 4th, you'll see the second quarter meeting is, that one is pretty much set in stone, that November 4th. We'll have to go off on that day because right after that, that one contains the CAFR audit, so that has to get forwarded to the board on a time-sensitive basis. The other three list our dates that we believe they'll happen on and with the standard items that are listed for those time periods. And if you have any suggested items for inclusions, don't hesitate to reach out to us or give us a call and we can adjust the calendar accordingly. Right now, if you see anything with your schedule where these dates don't work, the sooner you can let us know, the better, so we can try and plan to make sure we have quorums. And I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, that brings us to closing items. 3.01, public comment. Comments from the public are invited at this time on topics not specifically addressed elsewhere in the agenda. A citizen request to speak card should be filled out and submitted through the recording secretary before speaking during the public comment section. All persons are limited to 3 minutes per item. In accordance with the open meeting law and on advice of legal counsel, the public body is discouraged from discussing and precluded from deliberating and/or acting on items raised by public comment which are not already on the agenda. The public body may impose reasonable content-neutral restrictions on public comment, such as willfully disruptive comments that are irrelevant, repetitious, slanderous, offensive, inflammatory, irrational, or amounting to personal attacks or interfering with the rights of other speakers. Correspondence or written materials submitted for public comment by the general public shall be attached to the minutes of the meeting. Okay, so at this time,
No, there's no in-person public comment, and I haven't gotten any emails either.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so that brings us to 3:02, announcement of the next meetings, Thursday, November 24th, 2021.
November 4th?
Thursday, November 4th, 2021 will be our next meeting. Then beyond that, as per the calendar as well, February 10, 2022. Thursday, May 12th, 2022, and August 11th, 2022, at 3:30 p.m. in this very boardroom. And then that's it. And then finally, that brings us to adjournment. Okay? So that's it. Do I get a motion to adjourn?
Todd Shipley, I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I second the motion.
Okay, all those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.